Hey guys, so this is kind of a hard thing to talk about. I have gone back and forth on whether or not I wanted to share this online with a bunch of people that I don't know. The more that I thought about it, the more I wanted to do this. It's not an easy thing to talk about, and that's kind of where I'm going to start with this. So basically you can see by the title that I'm going to talk about my experience with, I think I'm going to title it postpartum depression. I don't know if that's what I had. I was never like diagnosed or anything like that, and we'll kind of get into like what my like symptoms were and like stuff like that. But it could be like a combination of that or maybe baby blues. But I just want to talk about it because I know that it's something that happens to a lot of women, and I don't think that it's talked about very much, and I understand why it's not talked about because obviously it's taken me a long time to even talk about it. But I just wanted to just put it out there, so if somebody is struggling, I am not, again, like I said, I'm just doing this because I want it to be out there for other people to relate to. Not looking for sympathy. I really don't even want any attention for this. Like, I know that people that I know will probably like message me or call me or ask me about it, and I don't know, it's just not something that I really want to talk about, so I'm going to just make this video, put all the information out there. The reason it's taken me so long to share, and I think that's the reason that a lot of people don't talk about it, and like the reason it goes unnoticed and maybe like bad things happen from it. There's a lot of reasons. For me personally, and this, again, this is all going to just be my personal experience, and my experience could be completely different than somebody else's, and it will be. Like, everyone's is so unique. But I was embarrassed. I mean, that was probably the biggest reason why I never wanted to talk about it, was because I was just really embarrassed. When you become a mom, you want to like have that confidence that you know what you're doing, and most of the time you probably won't. Like, I don't think anybody really knows what they're doing. We all just are kind of winging it. It's hard when things don't go great, and like you guys know, or if you don't know, I did talk about it in previous videos. I had a really hard time with breastfeeding at the beginning, which again is very common. I'm not like the only one to have ever had that issue. But it was really hard on me. I was just really embarrassed that I wasn't able to breastfeed, and that was really the biggest thing. I felt like I could pretty much do everything else, but that like really took a toll on me and like affected everything, because breastfeeding totally consumes your life. So yeah, I was embarrassed. I was probably in denial, and that kind of goes with being embarrassed too. You don't want to like admit to like not being okay or not being good. Like, it's just embarrassing, and you just want to be like, no, I'm just tired, or I'm just not eating, you know, because I'm just busy. I didn't want to go to the doctor. Like, I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to have to go on medication for it, because I knew that that was like a thing that could have to happen. I didn't want to have to do that. And I didn't want like any negativity surrounding my new baby. Like, I wanted everything to be good. Like, I didn't ever want people to think that I was sad, because it's so hard to explain how I was feeling, and I will get into that in a little bit too. I'm going to talk about all my symptoms, but like, you just want it to be the happiest of your life, and like happiest time of your life, and you don't want anything like negative associated with that, where like postpartum depression is negative, you know? So I didn't want that to be associated with me or with my pregnancy, and I didn't want to like scare people. I have friends that are pregnant, and I didn't want to scare them. I didn't want to like make anybody in my family or like my friend group like think I was gonna like hurt myself, because I never felt that way. I didn't want to hurt myself. I didn't want to hurt my baby. I didn't want to hurt anybody else. It wasn't like that for me. Most of it was just like the embarrassment, the denial. I didn't want the attention for it, and that's why I didn't talk about it. I know that, well, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that my family could sense that I was struggling. My sisters would like call me all the time and text me all the time and ask me how I'm feeling and like just be like, they were very good about being honest, and I think like my siblings are way better than I am about like being honest and like confronting issues. I guess I'm always just like, oh, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, even if it's not, like just because I don't want to deal with the drama, or I just like, I don't know, which doesn't always help, but that's just how I am. But you know, like they would ask me like, well, aren't you sad that you can't breastfeed, or that you're having a hard time? Isn't that really sad for you? And I would just be like, I mean, yeah, it is, but if I can't, I can't, whatever, which was true, but I mean, I really was hurting, but I just didn't, again, I didn't want the attention. So I did have people that were looking out for me, which was really nice. But it also kind of like made me mad because, again, I was kind of in denial, and I was like, ugh, I just bet that they think that I have postpartum depression, and I don't. Like, I don't have that. Like, why do they keep calling and asking me if I'm okay? And I mean, that was probably part of it too. I was like getting mad for people caring about me, but I guess I can talk about my symptoms now. So when you go to your doctor, you fill out this like what is it called? Can't think of what it's called. If I can find it, I'll insert it here. But it's like this test basically to see if you are like experiencing postpartum depression, but you also take it while you're pregnant. So that's why I want to say it's not for just postpartum. I'm sorry, I probably like keep shaking the table. I need to stop doing that. That like test that you take, like you put like very often or not very often, and it's talking about like, do you unnecessarily blame yourself for things, or I wish that if I could find like a picture, if they have anything posted, I'll insert it here and you can see like the questions that they ask. But for me, whenever I filled that out, nothing ever really like alerted any nurses or doctors, because to me it wasn't like unnecessary. Like I always had a reason for the way that I was feeling. Like I didn't think that I was unnecessarily like blaming myself. I felt like I should be blaming myself, or I'm really sad and I don't know why, or I'm crying and I don't know why. And I always knew why. Like even if it was stupid, if it didn't really make sense, I knew why I was doing it. Like I don't know, it's really hard to explain. Like again, I think that's also a reason why I didn't want to talk about it, because like I feel like when I talk about it, I don't make sense. I remember filling it out at my 6-week appointment, which is the like first appointment that you have for yourself after you have a baby. And I remember like wanting to talk about things more with my doctor, but the way that I filled it out didn't alert her on anything. And when she asked me like how I'm feeling, I said, you know, I really had a rough start. I think things are kind of getting better. She kind of just grasped onto the I think things are getting better and just kind of went with that and never really got into too much detail about how things were not good. And she kind of related me not feeling good to me having choreo, which is why Charlie had to go to the special care unit, which I don't really know if I had choreo or not, but that's what it basically that's what I had, with like the fever and everything like that. So she kind of just related it all to that, and not really about like how I was feeling or like breastfeeding or anything like that. So that was kind of just like blown past and whatever. So I was like, whatever. I mean, I wasn't scared of anything. I didn't think I was gonna do anything bad, so I wasn't like really too worried about it. So I have a notebook here. You can probably see I keep looking down at it. I wrote stuff out because every time I talk about this, I'm so like jumbled, and I'm trying really hard to kind of like go in like a smooth timeline of things so that it's not like all over the place, and so it's easier for you guys to listen and understand. I felt frustrated, and that was a lot to do with breastfeeding. I had headaches. I wasn't eating, I wasn't showering, and again, all of these things that I have listed, I kept on just putting off to I'm a new mom. Like, this is how it always is for new moms. Like, you're adjusting to a new schedule, like, you're just consumed in this new baby, so like you kind of forget to eat, and you showering isn't on your priority list anymore. Like, everything about you, like self-care for yourself, like goes out the window, and you just are caring about this new baby. So I kept like normalizing it, I guess, in my head, which a lot of these things, like a mom without postpartum depression, she may experience these things too, but again, this is just how I was feeling, and I just wrote them down just so that I had them. But I wasn't eating, I wasn't showering. I always kept the blinds closed. This was something that I never noticed until my husband kind of said something about it. I like wouldn't want to get out of bed, like we'd just stay in bed, or I'd like get out of bed and come on the couch, and I would just want the blinds closed at all times. I don't know why I did that. I never wanted them open, and so I remember he would always like make an effort to open the blinds just to get some like sunlight in my apartment. Like, and mind you, I wasn't leaving my apartment, I was staying inside, and I just like wanted it dark, and I didn't want to like look outside. Like, I didn't care. I don't know. I didn't want visitors. I didn't want to leave the house. That was a lot. I'm going to get into that a little bit later. Kind of explain that a little bit more. I like wasn't remembering things. I kept putting that too. I wasn't sleeping. But I like didn't care to remember things. I remember people would be talking to me, and I like just wouldn't care like what they were telling me or anything. Like, I just didn't care about anything. I just didn't care. I had really bad mom guilt, and I put like specifically if I put him down, if he cried, like when he had his appointment, when he had to get shots, and stuff like that. I had really bad mom guilt from like my inability to nurse him, and my mom guilt was really bad. I remember we have a swing, like a baby swing that's also like a bouncer, and I would never put him in it because I didn't want him to think that I didn't want to hold him or that I didn't love him. If in my head I thought that if I put him in his swing, that he would think that I don't love him, or that I don't want to hold him, or I don't care about him. That's truly what I felt inside. Like, I truly felt that. If he was crying, like especially in the car, I've also talked about this in videos, he had a really hard time in the car, and would always cry, and it gave me terrible anxiety. That's again, I didn't want to leave the house because I didn't want to leave him alone. I didn't want him to be in the back seat by himself. I didn't want him to think that I didn't love him anymore. Like, it's, to me, when I think back on it now, because I'm not in that anymore, I have a completely different mindset. It does sound like really crazy, but I truly in my heart felt that he would think that I didn't love him anymore. I remember like getting a lot of crap for that too, by people like saying that I'm always holding him and things like that, but like I truly thought that he would think I didn't love him. I wrote down that I was really sad about getting mastitis, and about my milk storage. Oh, that's one thing. So I remember I posted, this is all like, I don't know if it matters to you guys, I'm just talking about it because it was an experience that I went through, but I remember I posted on Instagram a little like boomerang of all, I think it was a boomerang, maybe it's just a video of all of my milk storage. I had tons because I got mastitis and I was pumping every 2 hours, so I got so much milk, and so I have tons of it in my freezer, and every time I looked at it, it made me so sad, because to me, I'm like, this is in my freezer because I can't nurse my baby, I can't feed my baby, which I was feeding my baby. This is how my mind was thinking. Like, I'm so sad that I have all of this milk because it means that I was sick and that I wasn't able to nurse my baby, and like it just reminded me of just like sad things. I just got sad about it every time I saw it. I remember I posted it, and I kind of posted it like thinking people would feel bad for me. And that is like so insane to me. Like I don't know. I feel like my head is straight now, but like thinking back to like how I felt, and I remember posting it thinking like, oh, people are going to feel bad for me, and like I kind of wanted it. Like I wanted people to feel sorry for me. Like I'm going to be honest. Like, you know, sometimes we do that. And I did, and I remember everybody was responding like, that is so amazing. Like everything was positive from it, and I was just like mad. I'm like, why are people like telling me that this is good? Like this is not good. It's just because I was sick, and it's because I can't feed my baby. And everyone was like so impressed, and I don't know, like now like that made me like realize like, okay, I need to like kind of switch the way that my mind is working. Like to other people, this is amazing that I have this. Other people don't have that. And I probably looked like I was bragging. And that's not my intention. Like, my intention was feel bad for me. Like, look how much my life sucks. Where other people probably saw it as, wow, like, rub it in that you have so much milk. So, I mean, that's just another way that my mind was just, like, totally skewed. I didn't want anybody to hold him. I was really irritable. So I'll talk all about now, like, not wanting visitors, not wanting people to hold him. So because I couldn't nurse him, I thought that he wouldn't know that I was his mom. And I kind of laugh about it now, but it was really hard on me, like really, really hard on me. And, you know, people always say like, oh, they know your scent, and they know like that you're the one that has their food, so like whenever they are with you, like they know you're their mom. And I was like, he's not gonna know that with me because I don't feed him like that. And you know, we'd have all these visitors, and so I didn't hold him that much, which honestly I probably did. I mean, I held him all the time, but if we had visitors over, I never held him. You know, he was with other people. And I was so afraid that he was gonna like forget who I was in those moments of other people holding him. And I was so like disconnected. Like I remember there was a time we had visitors, and I just sat and like just stared out the window. Like I didn't want to look at somebody else holding my baby. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want, like, I was just like, I was miserable. I don't know. I don't have like a word to describe how I felt. I just felt like empty, kind of. I remember I made up a lie to my husband because Charlie was getting bottles, and there was a time where people were going to be over during the time that he would need to eat. And again, I'm going off this whole nursing thing where baby knows who his mom is from nursing, and that's not true. But in my head, that's what I felt, and I didn't want anybody else to give him a bottle. Sorry, he woke up. Where did I leave off? So basically, I told my husband that I had saw online that you shouldn't let anybody else feed your baby besides the mom for like the first few months of their life. I was just so worried that he wouldn't know that I was his mom. So like I said, I was mad at myself, but I always had somebody else to blame. And I always blamed the nurses and the doctors. But yeah, I never had those like scary feelings of like hurting myself or anything like that, or hurting anybody else. I never had those feelings. I was just like sad, felt disconnected, and I didn't feel like myself. I'm crying. Hang on, let me just go grab him. The other thing that I had problems with, which is so left field to me, like it's so crazy that my mind did this to me, I guess. is I all of a sudden just was not like interested in my husband anymore, and I didn't want to talk to him. Like, I didn't care. I was like considering divorcing him. I just wanted to run away, basically. Like, I wanted to run away with Charlie, and I guess that would be like probably the scariest thing, and I never like had plans to do it. Like, I didn't go that far, but like these were just like thoughts in my head that I wanted to run away with him, and I didn't want to be around anybody because I knew that, this is so crazy to like say this out loud. I knew that if I divorced my husband, that everybody would think that I was crazy, because like we literally have the best relationship. Like, I don't think anybody else has as good a relationship as my husband and I do. And I knew that like my family would be mad and his family would be mad, and like all of our friends, like nobody would like me anymore. And so I just wanted to run away, and I didn't want to be around anybody. I don't know, I didn't want anybody to know anything. It was nothing that he did. Like, if I think back on like how times were, like, did he do something to make me mad? Like, and nothing. Like, there's nothing that I can think of. I think it was just a lot of like myself. Like, maybe I just felt like I didn't deserve to have that anymore. I don't know. Again, this is like why I don't talk about it, because it's so hard to explain. Like, I can't put into words how I was feeling. Like, it's so hard to talk about it. And I sound crazy. So, I guess that's really all that I have to talk about my experience with postpartum or baby blues or whatever the heck it was. I would say I probably felt that way for like a good 2.5, 3 months. I mean, he's 4 months now, so it's not like so far in my past. I wanted to wait until I had my crap together, because I didn't want it to be a video where I'm crying throughout the whole thing. And I feel like if I would have done it any earlier, it would have been that way. I'm so happy and thankful and blessed to have such a sweet boy. He is tired and I need to get him back to sleep. So thank you guys so much for listening. I hope that it helps somebody to share this story. And yeah, I guess I don't know how to close this, so can you say bye? Alright, bye guys. I ended this, but one more thing I want to talk about, and I forgot I had it written on the next page, but how you can get yourself out of it, other ways besides like medical professionals. Go on walks, get outside, like get some fresh air, get some sun, open the blinds, go on walks. We went on walks all the time, and it just was nice to just get out. You got some exercise, get your blood pumping, get the fresh air, and get dressed. That is another really big thing. Like, if you can't do anything else, just get up out of bed and put some clothes on. Staying in your pajamas is very comfortable, and yes, you will probably do that, but if you're really feeling like crap and you can't get out of it, just get dressed. Sometimes just getting dressed can make you feel better. It makes you feel a little bit more put together, a little bit nicer, and then talk about it. That was this cute little monkey butt. That was one thing that I feel like I really love about my relationship with my husband, is that he will literally listen to me talk about the dumbest things, and I would just talk to Matt about the dumbest things. Just mention the little things, talk about everything. If you think something's off, tell somebody. And yeah, and if you are going through it, I really hope that you start to feel better soon. It does get better, I promise. You'll figure it out. And yeah, I believe in you. We'll face this mommyhood, this new lifestyle change together. Right. Say, we'll do it together. No one's perfect. Except for you. Bye, guys.